Hello, welcome, and good morning. We're going to take this morning to step away from Cantina drop rates for right now and talk about something that I do spend a lot of time interacting with in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and that is the mod filtering system. Now, many of you know that I do have multiple mod filter guides in the game. I've seen them linked on Discord, I've seen them linked on Reddit. It is something that all players should be interacting with. Unfortunately, it was a system that was outdated right from the drop and really could use a huge bump in quality of life to make it a more useful system to all players. So, without further ado, let's discuss. Right. So mod filtering in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, for those of you that don't know, and those of you do, you go into your collection, you hit mods, you pop in, you go to manage mods, and if you go to your filters, you will see on this left-hand side a saved filter list. And this is basically a downline list where you start at the top and go all the way to the bottom. Some of these are sell filters, so I know what things to sell. Some of these things are upgrade filters, and not everybody uses upgrade filters. I like using them as a quick reminder to know exactly which sets of mods to upgrade at which times in order to maximize not burning my credits and making sure that the right mods get to where they need to be. It's a fairly okay system, but it's not super intuitive. It is clunky. It does cause some problems if, for example, I wanted to change this UTI arrow cell filter and move things around. I cannot save this filter without it going to the bottom of the list and having to now reset every single filter in the downline. The other problem here is that although filters are meant to save you time, the more filters that you have in this list, the longer it takes to interact with your mods. This isn't necessarily a huge problem, but it is an easily solvable problem. I, for example, have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 16 filter checks. And quite honestly, I could bring this up to about 30 and be a little bit more hyper specific about certain modding aspects. I just don't want to do that specifically because I know it will take me more and more time with each filter added. Now, I do have some solutions here. These are just mock-ups. The way that things look, obviously, I'm not a designer, and that is on CG, so bear with me here. But this is essentially what the system would look from my point of view. So we have the first level here, and you see some, we're going through different things. There we go. You'll see right here on the screenshot a couple of new things, some load group, save group, share group. You see some colors here. This should definitely be highlighted in green just as much as it is dark and highlighted in green here. Auto run options, run filters, some arrows here on the bottom, all things that would be very important. So first and foremost, when we go to load group, save group, and share group, the first thing here is that you would be able to share your group of filters with other players. So as a content creator, I build out this loadout of different filters. I can hit share group, and I don't know how CG would generate this, either through some sort of QR code, a hash, I'm not the designer. I've seen these things done in games before, but we get a nice big long code that I can post and I can send it to people, and I can use load group in order to send that into my game. There would also be a save group thing here for the specific reason that this new system would allow you to have multiple sets on your account. So maybe I have filters that I have built because I'm looking for specific things, but maybe I also like Vexitron's filters and I want to keep those on my account in a separate file. And I can go into these groupings and I can change the grouping that I'm currently using, right? So that is what that is for. Now, The reason that I have these things here as is, the red filters would be sell filters, the green filters would be buy or upgrade filters. And if there is no coloring, it just means you have not set an option for your account yet. You will also notice that there are check marks on the side, which will allow you to pick and choose which filters get run by the system automatically. So maybe sometimes I'm not wanting to sell my defensive primaries. I'm going to click on this little thing. I'm going to uncheck it and it will be skipped when I run the filters. But as I go through the system, I build out my filter list. I can save my filters now as new, or I can overwrite a current filter. So effectively, if I want to change this UTI arrow cell 1, I want to mess with something here in this screenshot, I can choose, hey, I want to save this as a new filter so it'll be sent to the bottom, or I want to overwrite this filter and keep it on the top of my list just to make my life easier. You'll notice that I've also added a filter name area up here in the filter list so that if I want to just change the name of the filter, maybe it's doing something that it wasn't doing before and I want to rename that. Um, Now I can do that to make my life easier. I also strongly recommend with this giving us a few more characters to work with. You can see that I bring all of my filters basically to the exact amount of letters that I am allowed, even if it goes slightly past the edge and is hidden. I would like to see, I'd say between 5 to 8 more characters allowed in each name. I just think that it becomes very, very difficult for me to quantify and understand what each of my filters does when I have to use a very, very specific shorthand. But again, save as new, overwrite folder, and the option here on the bottom with these arrows to move filters up or down in this list without having to save or delete things. Now, the other big thing here is this auto run options. And you can see on the left-hand side, there is a sell option. On the right-hand side, there is an upgrade option. There is also a little bit of a note here. This action will apply to all filtered mods when you hit run filter. So when you hit that filter, if your auto filter is on, and you hit run filters and it goes through the whole list, anything that is added there will end up getting sold or upgraded. So in this instance, if I hit reveal all secondaries on a certain filter, it will turn green and it'll bring each mod up to the level required to filter and see all of their secondaries. If I do level 12, all of those mods will go to level 12. If I instead check sell filtered mods, it will turn red, just like this UTI arrow sell up here, and it will sell all of those mods, right? And I can set that for every single one of my filters so that it is all ready, it is all prepared, and I now have a program that I can run. When I hit this run filters button on the bottom, you get a nice little warning message. Select filters will run in top-down order. Program will end if there are not enough credits to continue. This action is permanent. Now, I did send these infographics out to some of my members early without any context, and a few of them said, hey, it would be really great if the amount of credits were added here. And what I tried to explain to them was that it's really hard to do that because of the way filters work. The game could definitely tell you a maximum number of credits, but it couldn't necessarily tell you the exact number of credits because not all of your mods would be rolled yet. And that would kind of be like those assholes who buy thousands of Pokemon packs and they weigh them to see which ones are rare and which ones don't have their cards in it. Even though the game may technically know which mods will be sold and which mods will not be sold, this might cause a problem there if you're noticing costs that are too high or too low, and you decide, hey, something's going on and I don't want to deal with these mods in the same way. So what this would do effectively is run through your filters, top to bottom. And if it ends up running out of credits, it'll just stop. It'll say, hey, we ran out of credits. Boom, done, whatever. You'll also see on the left-hand side, because not all of my filters have a sell or a buy on them. Warning, not all selected filters have an associated action. Filters without an associated action will be skipped. This is basically saying, hey, I'm going to go right from UTI arrow sell to reveal secondaries and nothing else, because those are the only filters in the list that have an associated action with them, right? But it'll run through. I don't know how long this would take. It might be instantaneous. I don't know what SWGOH's servers look like. Regardless, it would take me just a couple of clicks. I hit confirm and run, and then I am given this run filter summary. It'll tell me how many mods are sold, how many credits were used, and how many credits were overall earned from the sellings, right? Super quick. And this could be robust. This could be, it says, hey, 10 arrows were sold, 10 triangles were sold. I don't personally think that that is necessary. This is really just a way for you to know that the game has finished doing the thing that you wanted it to do. With that, just as kind of a recap, your mod filters 3.0, increase character limit to just before the edge. This will help players like myself. Allow filters to be modified without having to create a new filter. This makes changing filters so much easier so that you're not having to change the entire downline every time. Provide arrows to move filters up and down the filter downline. Again, makes filtering easier so that I can change and alter things to my leisure. Add access to easily rename a filter. Right now that everything else in the game can easily be renamed, mod filters cannot be renamed without having to completely change the downline. Add support for auto running a set of multiple filters. We're not going to go through all of these the subtext here and the bullets, but essentially the things that we were just talking about. The ability to share filter groups with other players. This is a great thing, man. It would be great if I could do a filter video and then have a file that has my filters in them, and players can just hit copy and go into their game and hit paste and not have to spend a half hour dealing with the specifics of what a filter group looks like, and they could just make it as easy as possible. I know that some players in my Reddit posts have said in the past that they have put my filters in, forgot to uncheck this one thing, and now they have to go back and do all of them again, which kind of just sucks. And the ability to have multiple filter groups saved to your account or loaded as needed. You can think of this kind of like Path of Exile has this for loot, and you can have multiple filter groups for different rarities, and you can choose, hey, I'm loading my epics only, or I'm loading my legendaries only, or I'm looking for a specific thing to bring up in the game, so I'm loading my common stabs only mod filter, whatever it is. This would allow me to say, you know what, I've got Egnards in here, I've got Vexitrons in here, I've got Scribes filters in here, no, I don't have Fills in here because his probably suck. I've got Beavers in here, and I can move between those as I want, because we all have different specifics in how we like to play the game. How important is this to the game? Let's be real here. We have existed for 10 years in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes without something like this. Obviously, the game will go on without it. But I do think that one of the biggest things that CG could be doing right now is shoring up and tightening up the time players are spending interacting with systems unnecessarily. And if they are not going to make my life easier by allowing me to sim the raids or sim TB, if they are going to insist that I spend this insane amount of time on all of these game modes, the very least they could be doing is saying, hey, how can I reduce those pain points that take 3 to 5 minutes every 4 days? How can I reduce the clicks from, what did I say, 16 filters. So now I'm taking like about 100 clicks every couple of days. How can I make this as easy as possible so that players can figure out things on their own? With all of that said, let me know what you think. I'm always interested in what people say and what their ideal um, quality of life is for really anything in the game, but specifically here for modding. And as always, if you have found this type of content helpful, hit subscribe, share it around. It helps me out quite a bit. But peace out. Have a great rest of your day.